back, baby. Just knocked out sauna. Or not. We always say the lift first, bro. Come on. Triceps, biceps, sauna afterwards. Dude, it's like, I just can't miss with these lifts lately. Like, not a single one I ever walk out and I'm thinking like, dude, that was not it. It's just, they all hit, right? They all hit. That's how it's supposed to be, right? That's how it's supposed to be, but that's not why y'all are here. Something that, bro, yesterday, something that became especially apparent to me is just, you got to become a student of the game, right? You have to become a student of the game in whatever area or aspect of life that you really just find that passion and drive within. You see, if you guys are, obviously have been here, you know how I operate. My biggest, passion project or sort of priority in this current phase of my life really is just health and fitness. And I believe that is just the thing that's going to essentially, it's the vehicle that'll take me to my best self, my 2.0, in terms of allowing me to align myself across the physical, the mental, the spiritual, right? That's what 2.0 is all about, alignment across those three things: mind, body, soul, your thoughts, your actions, beliefs, all that good stuff. But specifically within health and fitness, it's just like, when it comes to just accumulating knowledge and just getting my skin in the game and just experimenting and learning all these things, man, there's nothing that can beat it, right? I feel like so many people, when they think of the word student, they think about like school. And truthfully, I feel like I don't think I've spoken about this, but I always did good in school, right? When it came to school, I wasn't never like the guy that was like, oh, I do trash in school. I was always that guy that just, I always excelled in school, right? It's like people would label me as like the smart guy, you know what I'm saying? So I always did good in school, but of course it doesn't essentially mean that like, I was just hell-bent on doing good in school. It was almost just like a natural thing where I just knew, what needed to be done. I knew what, how the assignments worked. I knew what really moved the needle in terms of, getting good grades, right? I feel like, that's really what it comes down to. It's like you're never doing the assignments and the work and stuff from a position. I mean, more often than not, right? You're never really doing it from this thing of like, oh, that I'm so passionate about doing this homework. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're just really, into like, I don't know, in math or English or science, whatever, right? But of course, within school, it's usually structured in a way to where it's just it doesn't fulfill you at all. But the thing is, when you exit the school system, like, of course, I'm still in college, right? I'm going to college, but it was especially after I finished high school where I realized the importance of just being a lifelong student. In that, even outside of school, it's like you still should be actively, learning and applying yourself within these various disciplines that you actually care about. You should literally dedicate time towards learning and being a student within the areas that actually matter. Because in school, it's like they force you to just, do all of these things that you don't essentially want to do. You have to learn about history, you have to learn about art, you have to learn about these things. And it's like, sure, you might find interest within some of these things, but more often than not, it's never what truly just fills your heart, right? It never is what gives you that burning passion and desire to just get after it in terms of just learning and accumulating knowledge. And it's why, especially within yesterday, the reason I'm making this video is because yesterday, dude, I literally discovered this audiobook that essentially, is largely relevant to my current pursuit of health and fitness and trying to optimize for, muscle growth and fat loss, at least on that, hypertrophy resistance training end. And I kid you not, it was like an 8-hour audiobook, right? It was an 8-hour audiobook. I finished it within yesterday. I sat down and I literally just whipped out my laptop. I had the audiobook on my phone and I literally just took notes and just listened to the whole thing all in yesterday. right? Within one day, I finished an 8-hour audiobook. And it goes to show that within that entire period, I never felt like sort of drained, or that I was like, oh, like, you know, this is such a chore. Like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to learn about this. Dude, I was in the audiobook itself, right? I was just, you know, so enthralled within the process of just learning and, you know, hearing about all these new insights that now it's like I've gained them, and it's like, dude, it's beautiful because it's new stuff to apply and experiment within my own system that of course aligns with my own goals. And that's what learning should be all about. That's what being a student truly is. It's not about, you know, being a student within the school sense of like, oh, I have to learn, you know, math, science, English. But bro, you just find those areas within your life that you actually care about, and you just apply yourself within this. You become a student within those regards, right? For me, obviously, it's things like, you know, muscle growth, fat loss, you know, physical fitness, your training, your dieting, recovery. These are things that I just feel so like, it just feels like I have an endless capacity to want to learn about these things. And when you can double down on that, when you find those things where it's just like, yeah, I want to be a student within this regard, or I want to actually actively learn. I want to whip out my laptop or my book and literally take notes. The thing that I almost never really did within school was take notes, because it just felt like such a bore to sit there and it's like, I'm just learning about something that it doesn't fulfill me. So it's like, why am I gonna sit and, you know, whip out a book and take notes on it? I might as well just, you know, leave it to my mind to, you know, remember the information at that point. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of people view like note taking as like this negative thing, but it's like, bro, when you actively learn about things you care about, it's like you want to take notes, you want to start doing that type of shit, bro. I'm telling you, becoming a student of the game that you actually care to win at, bro, it's everything, absolutely everything. And it just sucks because the school system makes learning feel like such a chore, and that it always has to be this process that you have to, you know, exert so much willpower and discipline, and you're just hating it the entire time because you have to do it to get the good grades. But I'm telling you, you don't even need to exit the school system to realize this. Just begin actively shifting your focus from, you know, a student being like, oh, you know, within the school aspect, to just being a student of life, right? Be a student within your life in terms of striving to just become as knowledgeable as possible within those aspects you care about. And of course, something I preach on this page where is the idea of internalizing versus externalizing your power, where more often than not, when it comes to accumulating knowledge, it should always come from within, right? When you want wisdom or guidance, when you want solutions and answers to problems, it should all come from within first. You should turn to within first, because I'm telling you, that is where the best insights come. When it comes to internalizing your power and externalizing, which is essentially, you know, going to others, going to external things, accumulating knowledge that is not from within, you know, the best way to approach that, because I still believe it's, you know, it's valuable to externalize your power only after you first, you know, set the intention to internalize and try and figure it out yourself. But then it's like, when you go to externalize your power, when you go to learn from outside sources, it should be all additional insights, right? It's like within this audiobook, you know, it was like an 8-hour audiobook. I sat there and I, you know, went through it all because I knew that it was all additional insights to what I was currently, you know, trying to apply and experiment with within my own process, within my own system of 2.0. And it's why I don't view that as like, oh, like I just externalize my power and, you know, I'm gonna do everything what the book says. No, right? I even though I read or listen to this book in its entirety, I'm not even probably gonna apply like majority of the things that I learned about. I just went through it all so that I can have as much, you know, tools to play with and experiment with that actually align with what I'm trying to achieve. Right? That is the beauty of internalizing your power first and then externalizing your power when you actively, go to be that student within those areas that you care about within your life. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it was such a fulfilling experience to just sit there and just learn essentially the entire day. And I feel like a lot of people might hear that and think like, bro, there's no way I could do that. I would never do that. But I'm telling you, bro, when you find the things that you just, it sets that fire within you, and you just have that endless supply of energy to just want to learn and just learn, bro. I'm telling you, it's so fulfilling. It is so fulfilling, man. So basically, moral of the story, just become a lifelong student within the aspects you care about, baby. But yeah, that's some mental game for y'all. Gonna drive on home, knock out this meal, gonna experiment with all the insights that I got from that audiobook within the coming days and weeks. Definitely feel that this is really going to put me in the direction towards achieving my goals, getting that muscle growth and fat loss simultaneously, baby. Whilst, of course, we care about strength, we care about the mobility, we care about the endurance aspects as well. Right? It's not just about, growing muscle and losing fat, of course. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed that, if y'all got value, like, comment, feedback, always appreciated. And yeah, we'll see y'all boys in the next one.